We have a special day today because the Transfiguration of August the 6th doesn't always fall on a Sunday, but today it does. So every 7 years we're blessed with celebrating it on Sunday. Today's Feast of the Transfiguration, the Gospel tells us of the Transfiguration of Christ when he took Peter, James, and John to a high mountain and revealed to them his divine glory. This was a foretaste of the glory of his risen body and a sign of the dawning of Christ's kingdom to come. This was true of Jesus' other miracles. He did so many miracles, for they were all signs of the kingdom of God and manifestations of his great and his mighty power. Yet in his other miracles, if you look at Jesus' other miracles, Jesus' majesty was veiled or cloaked in his humanity. At the Transfiguration, something else happens. The veil, if just for a moment, and it doesn't say how long he shone like the sun, just for a moment that veil was lifted, and the apostles, for the first time in their life, behold Christ, not his humiliation, but his splendor as light from light and true God from true God. You probably in the past, as I have heard the Transfiguration sermon that exhorts us to appreciate that moment on the mountaintop. I know when we go and retreat, and we're in retreat for 3 days, we sometimes are up on that mountaintop and we're really feeling Christ and seeing him in our life work. What a high moment it is many times for all of us toward the end of that retreat. We are with Jesus up on that transient mountaintop of beauty, if just for a few moments. But then we're told that we must, like everything else, including vacations, come back to the world. Come back to the brokenness of the world and join Jesus in the way of suffering. I have preached the sermon before on the Feast of the Transfiguration, and I have heard it hundreds of times. This year, it's really the last thing I want to hear, to come down from the mountaintop. I don't need to hear anyone tell me to descend the mountain. I slid down that mountain in January, I think after the election. I hadn't been able to really get myself back up to the mountain. It's a slow process for myself anyway. As I listen to the news each and every day, it drives me absolutely crazy. I became aware this year increasingly of the human tendency toward violence and toward lying, and more lying. Lying in our culture. The violence, the lying, I think, has gotten worse, and people will get up in front of the TV screen and lie bold-facedly and think nothing of it, and hoping that the whole world will go along with it. I think this New Year's Eve at Janine's, I was dreading 2017. After that election, I must be honest, and what that election would bring to us. And when I woke up this week, I said to myself, if I can't live in a decent world where people are motivated by love and shine with the grace of God, can't I at least spend Transfiguration Sunday on that mountaintop with him on the Feast of the Transfiguration? And darn it, I will. Perhaps hoping to find moments of transfiguration within everyday life, I start to think about that. Are there things in my life that speak of that transfiguration? And I started searching for those transfigurative moments in this year. And I thought, you know what, even though things haven't been the best, there were periods where I found Christ in my life. To be honest, there have been far and few between, I would say, this year, but there are signs of Christ's transfiguration in our lives. In the complexity of life, and it's getting more complex by the year, randomness of life, and in the unpredictability of life, we don't know where we're going to be from one moment to the next. and how short our life is, we all must have a deep interaction between suffering and hope, and the surprise of grace when it's needed most. And I pray more now for grace in my life and for your life and for our country's life than ever. We need amazing grace. We need that transfiguration more than ever. Here's something interesting in the Transfiguration sermon that Jesus touches. It says, when the disciples were up on that mountain, he actually touches them to calm their fear. They're scared. They've never seen anything like this in their whole life. Jesus becomes dazzling white. Moses appeared. Elijah appears. Let's face it, this is not something that they see every day. They were terrorized. But Jesus, it says, and I've read this gospel many, many, many times in Matthew, I never picked up on the word that Jesus touches them. And he touches them to console them. This year, if you feel that God has not been close to you on that mountaintop, it's been a crazy year for one reason or another, whether it's health issues or policy issues from the government, or if you are gay and you see that your rights are even being usurped, then it might be time to look to Jesus on that mountaintop, to be transfigured. And to be transfigured not just to sit back on your bottom. You might be transfigured to do something politically. You might be transfigured to help somebody in need. You might be transfigured with Jesus to give something to someone that doesn't have anything. So today, as we are with Jesus at that mountaintop, let us not sit on our fannies and do nothing. Let us, like the apostles, come down from that mountaintop filled with grace, despite our human limitations and despite sometimes our human biases, and do something for Jesus, no matter how small, so that each of us can transfigure the world.